Jackson trying to escape and run for it, and he's got it and more. Lamar Jackson down the sideline. Will they give it to him? They will. Touchdown, Baltimore.
And with 1:17 left to play on Wild Card Weekend, the Hayes in the barn.
Oh my God! I wish you guys could. I wish we had a camera in here so you could see what we're doing. We're just a bunch of clowns in here.
How much fun is that?
All right, welcome on back to another edition of the Baltimore Beatdown podcast. It is Thursday, April 29th, and it's officially draft day. Shout out to Drake.
Shout out to Johnny Manziel. 5 years later, how am I the man still?
It's been 7 years since then, actually, which is kind of sick.
Johnny M playing pick'em football. That stuff's kind of cool, actually. The little you have the app in that league he's in where the teams change every week. I did it like 1 week. One of my buddies is really into it.
The guy who used to do this podcast, Logan, actually worked for, I don't know if it was that one, but it was maybe the one before it, Your Call Football, for a little bit. With Merrill Hodge and all them.
Merrill Hodge, what a legend.
Yeah, so, draft day, Johnny Manziel, Andrew Wiggins, all the people that are just, associated with draft success at the top of it specifically. So shout out to Drake for putting that out.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, listen, Kevin Costner, obviously in the mix there. Bill Tobin, who the hell is Mel Kiper anyway? A really tremendous day on the NFL calendar, and we're here, baby.
We're here. I think about it, probably a realistic 350 days a year. I think there's probably about 2 weeks, maybe during the season, not even during the season. I don't even know. I think there's probably 14, 15 days I don't think about the draft. I am excited. It is my favorite day of the year that is not like a Ravens playoff game, I would say, in terms of football especially. And I'm excited. This has been a weird process navigating through COVID. Last year was the beginning of like, what the hell's going on? This is getting out of control. It was a little, teams were able to get access prior to it. But now at this point, it's been a very, very different process. The Senior Bowl was really imperative. Teams haven't been able to get up and close and personal with guys as much as they usually do. So it's been a weird time, but we're here. Teams have adapted, and just like the rest of the world, the NFL is working from home a lot more and figuring stuff out. So it's going to be a weird one, and weird with guys returning for eligibility. Next year's class is going to be fat. This year is going to be nuts. A lot of high profile guys in the first round, it feels like.
Yeah, it has been weird. It does feel like we are starting to maybe get a little bit back to normal, though, which is a nice feeling, because I remember a year ago, pretty much to this day, you and I were locked up in the house for the second straight month, I guess, and the draft, I remember, kind of was that first big sports reprieve, which, it was really nice.
Right.
Shout out to the NFL for going through with it and putting it on the way that they did and keeping everyone safe, but looks like things are kind of slowly trickling back to normal. Eric DaCosta put it out. I think last week, 2 weeks ago at the Liars Luncheon, he said that they are going to be doing 16 people in person in the Ravens facility, doing a lot of the stuff digitally that they needed to do physically in the past. So it's going to be kind of a hybrid of what we've seen. But
it's actually 11. You have to include Jermaine the Giraffe.
Yeah, of course, Jermaine the Giraffe over here in the corner. Going to be discussing all the prospects up on the digital board here. Now that we used to have a whiteboard, but we replaced
actually have a
it.
competition for who can have the most prestigious handwriting.
These wheel stairs are just an artifact now. Kind of reminds us of the good old days of
Aussie. Aussie will be sitting right over here.
I'm not the tallest person in the world. So great video by him explaining the ins and outs of what's going to be going into the physical draft day experience there at the Castle, just down the road from here, where you and I are actually going to be tomorrow night.
We will be chilling big time. This time last year, we got that is a grapefruit sparkly, folks. Just so you know. But you and I got obliterated last year. It was a lot of fun. It was right. I kind of forgot about that whole situation and how it was a reprieve, like you mentioned. So this year definitely does feel more normal, and thankful for it. But it's times have been tumultuous over the course of the Baltimore Ravens year. Ups, downs, lefts, rights. COVID hit them like a bag of potatoes. And, playoffs were quite the roller coaster of emotions in both games. And then here we are, finally, with that Orlando Brown trade leading in. And when was I guess this is the first time since... Did they have two? No, they've never. The last time they had 2 first-round picks going into the draft was 1996. Right?
No, I think
Jamal they traded. No, they didn't.
No, because Travis Taylor was the 10th pick too, so that had to have been.
I think they did.
Because Jamal,
maybe they did have 2 first-round picks.
They got Jamal with the 4th, and then Travis.
The Falcons drafted Jamal for the Ravens, if I recall correctly.
Really? I thought they just picked him straight up.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought the Falcons picked him, but I think they did have 2 first-round picks.
Interesting.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think the Ravens might have had 5, and the Falcons had 4, and the Ravens did a pick and swap or something with the Falcons. I might be wrong on that. But yeah, 2 first-round picks, first time in quite some time. A rare occurrence. Eric DeCosta's got to be giddy about it.
So for anyone that's wondering, the pause there, I just Googled Jamal Lewis. I got Jamal P.R.S. Lewis, who is a left back for Newcastle United and the Northern Ireland team, which, listen, we love the beautiful game here, but that is not what I was expecting.
No, you're expecting a 250-pound hunk of meat by the name of Jamal Lewis pulled up there. But yeah, so you've got to think they're ecstatic to be able to do so. Like I mentioned, this is a high-profile first round. Jamar Chase, all-time record guy in the SEC. Trevor Lawrence, been touted as one of the best first-round prospects, highest quarterback prospect.
I'll say this to kind of rudely cut you off here. With the top pick being as locked up as it's been probably since Andrew Luck, maybe even before that, this has been one of the more dramatic run-ups to a draft that I can remember in a while.
They do it on purpose.
Oh, yeah, they 100% do.
They make it into a spectacle for the purpose of it being a spectacle, which is smart. It sells and all of that stuff. But you're absolutely right. I mean, the Zach Wilson stuff, he's on all intensive lock as well. The first 2 picks are locked up.
Which people aren't really talking about that.
Right, and the first 2 picks are locked up, and still the 49ers have created this drama. The Bengals are very uncertain. The Falcons, Pitts seems to be the pick.
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday.
And we can't guarantee that Kyle Pitts will be a Falcon, but that's looking like where it's leaning towards. And the Patriots are a wild card. They went absolutely apeshit this offseason and could be, getting a quarterback, could be not. Who knows, man? Mac Jones, is he going 3? Ben Albright, who I love to follow his insider information. He seems to be a guy who does not talk unless he knows. He's pretty reluctant to release things that he is not full-fledged on, and he, released a mock. His mocks have been very accurate. He does not have Mac Jones going in the top 19 picks. He has him number 20 to the Chicago so that he can go be Nick Foles and Andy Dalton with Nick Foles and Andy Dalton. And it's such a volatile situation, and who knows what's going to freaking happen. And the Ravens are just sandwiched back there calmly, but, ready to pounce. So I don't know. I have a feeling we see some big moves made.
I think so too. I think it kind of does all start there with that 3rd pick with San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan getting mega existential about the whole thing, and he just seems completely burnt out and tired of this whole situation. Getting a little prickly.
Insulted.
He's insulted. He's quite insulted by it, to be honest. But
it's quite insulting.
Yeah,
I'm insulted by it too, to be honest.
It's interesting because why would they move up that far without knowing who they're going to take? So you got to think that they have a guy in mind. I feel like they probably do. And, this is weird. And maybe I'm going to eat my words here tomorrow night. I feel like it's going to be Justin Fields.
I think it's Trey Lance. I was listening to Daniel Jeremiah talking about him on Pardon My Take, maybe? Move the Sticks.
I think he was
on there. But I love DJ. Big DJ guy. And he was just talking about how smart Trey Lance is, yada, yada, yada. And I just don't think you make a move. It just doesn't make sense in the end. We'll end the 49ers talk because this is the most regurgitated subject in football right now. But it just doesn't make sense to make the move for a guy who can't transition that offense into a more dynamic zone read type option offense. And that's not going to be Mac Jones. He can execute the RPOs as handoffs and throws, but he's not going to be able to give you that quarterback run aspect of it? And why do you make they gave a king's ransom for that pick. And why do you make that move if you are not going to go do damage? And that brings me on to another topic. I feel like the Miami Dolphins are primed in this draft to absolutely wreck everyone. They are going to get another handsome haul. I don't know who they're going to take. It sounds like Jalen Waddle is very, very, very much in the cards, but they are going to have the best draft of all drafts. That's my guess.
I could definitely see that happening. They've been just the war chest team for the last couple of years, just doing the thing where they just continue to trade back and like find these trade partners that are going to give them these ridiculous amounts of assets to move up however many spots. And I think it's Chris Greer running the show there now, or is there somebody else?
It's Greer. Yeah, it's Greer.
Okay, so yeah, he's done a nice job kind of rebuilding them into a exciting draft-oriented franchise as opposed to just throw all the money at every single free agent that plays offensive skill position and go 8-8 every year.
Like, hey, we got no income tax down here. State income tax is not here, so just come here.
I love me some Miami. I was thinking about that the other day.
I've never been to Miami. I've been to many areas around.
I think I've been there twice. Just a nice kind of laid back, Cuban Latin American feel. It's cool. I mean, I'm talking about real Miami, not like 11 and like live in the club culture.
I'm talking about Little Havana,
which I'm sure is fun too. But I kind of like the vibe down there. Just very chill and relaxed and kind of South Florida.
Shout out to Baker and the Beauty on Netflix.
Baker and the Beauty. What's the synopsis there?
Oh, wonder what it is.
Okay. Well, listen.
I've watched it. I'm saying wonder what it is. It's a baker and a hot girl.
Oh yeah. Well. Listen, you could have been referring to Baker Mayfield, which he has an attractive wife in his own right, but
If I had to guess her name, I'd say Kelly. Kelly Mayfield.
It's Emily. I don't know why I know that. But.
It ends with a Y, so I was correct.
Okay.
But yeah, Dolphins, I think are going to have a haul. I'm excited to see what the Giants do at 11. Cardinals are a team that I've got my eye on in the middle of that first round. I think Elijah Moore is a fun fit there. I think if they can get their paws on, or I guess their wings on, that's so stupid. On
Wow.
on like a JC Horn, they'd be in good shape as well with Patrick Peterson leaving. So they're in a, of course they're 16, so of course they're in the perfect spot halfway through. But no, they really are in a great spot for what their needs are, what the strengths of this first round are. Elijah Moore a wild card, Devonte Smith a wild card. We'll see what happens there. Browns, I'm very curious about. Steelers, I don't really give a fuck about. Fuck the Steelers. But I'm very curious to see what the Browns are going to do. They have a lot of freaking pieces, man. And the Browns faithful seem, they're all in on please don't draft a linebacker. They love, what is their defense coordinator's name? Slipped my mind. Woods.
Joe Woods.
Joe Woods' philosophy of playing three safeties and not relying on linebacker. And they're at that position where, Zaven Collins is an interesting option. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, if you want to call him a linebacker, interesting option. So curious to see what they do there, corners as well. And then brings us to the big bad Ravens. And I think you want them to trade up. You think they're going to trade up. I think
they're going to trade up into the, I don't know how you would phrase this, but the low 20s, like 20 to 24-ish.
You think they trade up a couple spots?
Yeah, just a couple spots, grab that receiver, trade back with the other one probably, maybe get a day or a third-round pick, early third rounder, whatever else, package that, get up into the second round, just keep rolling. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
And we got to call our shots, I guess. I guess it's time to call our shots. So you're going Rashad?
I am. It feels very, very chalk, very stonk, very straightforward. I just feel like it makes too much sense. The Julio Jones situation, I would love Julio, but there's just kind of no way to predict that right now, and it kind of feels like they wouldn't be able to trade for him in the immediate anyway. Nor do I think acquiring him should preclude them from taking the wide receiver position very seriously here in the draft anyway. So you got this guy staring you in the face who's realistically probably going to fall into the 20s. You never know with wide receivers. You see, these Corey Davis, John Ross types that just fly up the board out of nowhere. But I don't know. It just feels like there is maybe a little bit of negative sentiment on Bateman that's going to push him a little bit. I feel like if he
I don't think there's negative sentiment. I think there's just not enough sentiment on him separating himself in this class.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's fine. And if teams want to think that way, that's perfect. But I just think he's perfect for what the Ravens do. I think he'd be perfect for what Lamar Jackson needs. He's Shafua, and it's time. Soft hands and a fuck you attitude. That's what they need.
Are there any other players in this draft that you think they come out with?
That's a really interesting question. question because it depends on what that trade back would be for. I guess hypothetically, if they would remain picking in the first round, I'd be looking at trying. Not to stick with the themes that we've been going with here, but I just feel like he is that perfect Judon replacement at edge. And that's interesting. I mean, Greg Rousseau getting a lot of buzz to them recently as well, which we should maybe discuss.
Greg Rousseau, I went back and I was watching again today. I think the hardest, I did the positional rankings. I'm not going to just sit here and read my positional rankings because you can go read it on BaltimoreBeatdown.com whenever that puppy gets posted. But I had him 6th in the edge rankings. I think that him and Peyton Turner, and specifically him, have a different kind of versatility than a lot of the other guys. I think that, this is what I wrote for my I wrote little descriptions. Potential. Rousseau has production and length with which the Ravens value over all else. He can also rush from interior alignments and overwhelms guards and centers with quick hands matched with long arms and unique movement skills. His get-off isn't there yet. He's been playing the position for 3 years and will sink or swim. Calais Campbell is banging on the table, and his ceiling might look something like Calais Campbell's game. He is a guy that you really like, and Daniel Jeremiah really likes. Two of my favorite people, Jake Luke, Daniel Jeremiah. The 10-yard split is there. The length is there. He probably tried to gain a lot of weight. And again, it's him. It's Owe. It's there's one more escaping me.
Ojulari.
No, that I was going to say those are the three that I have trouble stacking. But there's one more that is a very recent transition. Joseph Osai. Those three are very recent transitions into playing that outside linebacker position, that edge position. Whatever it was on their respective defenses is all coming from relatively different schemes, but those three, you think potential. Then we go watch the Little Ravens video that was posted today. Eric DaCosta giving us a tour of the Ravens war room. And I can't remember the exact words, as I never can remember any exact words. It's Nick Saban's words that are placarded on the wall there. And I think it was previous behavior.
Yeah, the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior.
Yes, exactly. And so with Owe, does that mean getting sacks? I don't know. If you want to take it that way, maybe that's too literal and too on the nose. With Rousseau, is it, being green, being raw? Is he ever going to develop? It doesn't feel like that's the Ravens' philosophy with edge rushers. I think he's someone that can play a little bit now and a lot later. And if you do pick twice in the first round or do pick twice in the first, 40, 50 picks, he's a some for now, a lot for later kind of pick. So if you were to get a Bateman, if you are to get a Jenkins, if you are to get a very kind of sure thing feeling player that is closer to their potential now, then Jenkins is someone who's already played 2,300 snaps in college. He's probably closer to what he's going to be. You're comfortable taking someone like that. Bateman played a ton. He feels like he's very polished already. He can get better, but a some for now, some for later player mixed with a high impact immediate player feels like a good recipe for a team that doesn't have a lot on the way.
It's the David Fincher. One movie for you, the studio, one movie for me, the artist.
Exactly.
You gotta mix and match. So I think if you do that, and listen, they do have some holes on the roster where they don't have starters. I think wide receiver is one of them. I think edge is one of them. Tackle might be one of them as well, depending on what's going on with some of these guys that they have in the free agent pipeline potentially. But there's just there's some spots that could be filled, and to get 2 impact players would be ideal. But I think if they just get one and they stockpile a couple day 2 picks and then maybe go and try and get another one there, because there is going to be some good value in the second round. It's a fascinating position they're in, a most unique position, as I put in my article today, which you should check out.
A unique position. It was a good article. I enjoyed it. So over the last few years, the Ravens' first round picks, we're hanging out on the first round, and I guess we'll stay more towards the first round in this episode. We're going to be live streaming tomorrow. You guys are more than welcome to join us. We would love to see you guys in the comments, having a drink with us as well. But going back to the Ravens' last couple of drafts and first-round drafts, you obviously have Patrick Queen and J.K. Dobbins at the top. The year before that, you have Hollywood Brown, and then nothing until the third round in Jalen Ferguson, Miles Boykin. Before that is Lamar Jackson, Hayden Hurst. And then nothing in the second round?
In 18?
Yeah, nothing in the second round.
No, they got Andrews and Brown, though.
Lamar was the second round.
Yeah.
And then before that is Marlon Humphrey and Tyus Bowser.
Yes.
So none of those picks have been, Bowser and Hurst are the closest. They are kind of fringe in the trenches guys. And none of those picks have been in the trenches. So is the philosophy right now, go try to get positional players, skill players, quarterbacks, the speed, the flash, and see if you can build the trenches. It feels like the Ravens do a great job defensively, acquiring talent that is disgruntled elsewhere.
I can assure you our employees are all very gruntled.
Michael
Scott.
Yes. And John Harbaugh loves that one. And bringing in guys like Derek Wolfe, bringing in guys like, a DJ Fluker who didn't play that great, but probably better than he would have played for a lot of other organizations. So is that the philosophy? Are the picks going to be like that again? It feels like at some point you have to invest in the big boys. Big boy Grillo on the roof. I never seen a big boy Grillo on the roof. So
I'm going to go get the papers.
So it's just a curious. That's my question. My curiosity. Are the Ravens investing in the perimeter-ish players, the sideline-to-sideline players? Is that an organizational philosophy, or was that just simply best player available, or was that the need at the time? Last year in the draft, they go Justin Madubuike, and then Tyree Phillips, Ben Bredesen, and Madubuike was a BPA for sure. I feel like that married need. That didn't happen until the 74th pick, 75th pick, somewhere around there. So I'm very curious to see how the Ravens attack the trenches. How much they want to continue investing in that defensive line. A lot, defensive line and secondary feels like where they want to allocate resources. So the curiosity is piqued in me. Christian Barmore, is that a super intriguing option? He's getting invited to the draft. Usually those guys, there's like one or two that don't go in the top 25. And sometimes
shout out to Geno Smith, who he wore the suit. He fell all the way to the second round. He debated leaving the city of New York. Stayed there, gets drafted by the Jets, walks out in like a crispy sweater that he just threw over his suit shirt. Tough night for my guy Geno, who, listen, that was the first of many tough nights that he would be facing in his career.
Poor Geno. Good backup, poor Geno. So, Barmore, are you going to want to invest in the trenches there? If a guy like Jenkins is available, are you looking there? Or are they looking at this draft and trusting their development, trusting their requisite requirements that they have and the way that they have a system in place and whatnot and so forth? Is Alejandro Villanueva handshake deal already? Is Justin Houston a handshake deal already? Those are all curious situations, and those I feel like have an impact on the first round. If you have Alejandro Villanueva, if you have Justin Houston, if both of those guys are in the hand, not in the bush, then I don't think they have a need to do anything at any position, really. They could take any position other than quarterback. And I mean, as a Ravens fan, you never want to count out running back, but those are the only two positions I would say would not be on the table, and that opens everything up. And then that feels like a trade back scenario to me a little bit. And ultimately, I do think, I didn't give my prediction. I've been struggling. My thoughts were Azeez Ojulari and Creed Humphrey if the Ravens were to pick in the first round. Ojulari has fallen in my mind in the last, 48 hours. Creed Humphrey, the Ravens have never picked a first-round center. I don't think they've ever drafted a center in the second round either. I might be mistaken there back in like the early 90s or the mid-90s or in the early 2000s, but I believe...
Because I think they brought Mike Flynn over from the Browns or whatever that dude's name. It might have been Steve Flynn or something like that.
Mike Flynn.
Yeah, Mike Flynn, who started for them for a couple of years.
Right. And Casey Robach, I believe they drafted maybe third...
That was like
round.
Early 2000s, I think. Yeah, Rayback, I think is how you say it.
Yeah, like fourth round. So then I was like, that's probably stupid. They don't draft centers high, ever. That would go against the grain. And of course, they had never drafted an LSU player last year, but that is out of the way now with Patrick Queen. So Creed Humphrey, I don't think that's the pick. I think, it would be great to see someone, a 10-year center like that. Ojulari, the knee concerns, and just going back and rewatching for like the fifth time, one of the guys I've openly struggled with. If someone latches onto him, he can't get their hands off of them. I don't think he fits the build of what the Ravens like at rush. And I think they are counting on Tyus Bowser to be that Sam. Harbaugh pretty much said, he's like, that's our Sam. So I'm struggling. I'm going to go, I guess I'll go Rousseau. I think they're going to take Rousseau at 27, trade out at 31. That's my final prediction for the way the first round goes down. I think we have a little bit of a meltdown over it.
Who would be your hypothetical pick at 31 if they just stay pet after taking Rousseau?
If they're going to pick twice and they know they're going to pick twice, I think they take Elijah Moore or Rashad Bateman. I think that's why they stay in the first round for one of those two if they're going to pick twice. And then I'll again go with Barmore or Rousseau. I'll go with Rousseau. I think it's ultimately maybe Moore goes a little bit higher. He ran a 4.3. He had the prolific SEC production. So let's go. I'll go with you. I'll go Bateman and Rousseau, and that's some for now, some for later, as Mr. Finch once said. So those are my predicties there.
There you go. So it sounds like we are in lockstep that wide receiver is probably going to be addressed within the first 2 days. We are both predicting it for day one there. We both hope it is Rashad Bateman, get a little Shafua into an offense that could desperately need it. And there's that. But I guess that leaves them with 2/3, 2/4, 2/5, and a 6 after that.
Can do whatever they want. They can move. They can use picks from next year. If there is a player that is a Justin Madubuike sitting there in the 3rd round, they can go up and get him. Tackle, it just is all affected. I am of the thought that they do have, like I said, Villanueva and Houston. I think they do have those guys in hand, at least Villanueva, and ultimately are going to not feel as pressured. And they're going to take offensive linemen at some point in this draft. A center would be great. David Moore, someone out of Grambling State that I think would bring a new profile to the center position with really long arms. If they don't address receiver, Vaz has been on this train. I think Josh Reed has been on this train as well. Josh Palmer out of Tennessee, who was coached by T. Martin and spoke really highly of T. Martin, a little snippet that I found when I was perusing the old interweb. And I think he fits that kind of similar Rashad Bateman profile without the production, without all the flash of it. So that's a value pick later on if they do go in a different direction. But it's just tough, man. Albright again. I like to shout out Ben Albright. He doesn't speak out of his ass. He says wide receiver, offensive line. That's where the Ravens want to fix things. But offensive line in the 1st round has been Ogden, Ben Grubbs, Michael Orr, and that's it.
Ronnie Stanley. And that's it. Right? I think so, right?
Yeah, I believe so. So I don't think they feel the need. Ogden picked at 4, Stanley picked at 5. Left tackles, guys that filled everything out and were able to get that squared away. They have Ronnie Stanley. I think they trade Orlando Brown because they're comfortable in their process, a process-based organization, not a results-based organization. And I think that they're comfortable with finding guys and filling things out. Orlando Brown, was a unique situation, but in the 3rd round there, they've been able to make do with those later round guys. Tough scene to figure it out, man. And then going through, the tackles that have length, there's not that many. It's Stone Forsythe, Spencer Brown, Larnell, Coleman, then both of the tackles out of Texas A&M. And if I'm not mistaken, that's all the guys with 34-inch arms, including Tevin Jenkins, including Penny Sewell and Rashawn Slater. So it's a weird spot in that circumstance. And yeah, so I don't know. I really love Elijah Molden. That's a my guy. I really love Aleem McNeil. That's a my guy. I like Cornell Powell as a later round option as well. William Bradley King, I have in my top 10 edges, someone that I think I banged the table for harder than anyone I've seen or on any list or whatever you've read on the internet. I think him and Powell are the 2 guys that I really like above all else. Powell, a really great gunner, a hell of a gunner. That's a hardball guy for sure. So I like those options as well, and I would love to see the Ravens come out of the draft with any of those players.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. And as much as I do like all the tendency stuff that you guys have, I'm interested to see how this draft goes for that perspective, because I feel like, as much as we can attribute it to this front office, you are talking about a smaller sample size with DaCosta,
exactly.
Who, like we mentioned, has actually kind of diverted a little bit from what they had been doing. He's picked 4 wide receivers, which Ozzie was not doing every year. He's done that twice. He's tended away from some of the size and speed stuff that we've been talking about a little bit. So I think for a draft like this, it's going to be an interesting litmus test.
There used to be a lot of guys out of Nicholls State and Southwest Missouri and schools like that. And now it's, 16 of Eric DaCosta's 18 first picks as a general manager of the Ravens are out of a Power 5 program. He's been going chalk. He's been going stonk. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Those were Ozzie guys, and DaCosta throwing that stuff on its head a little bit.
Definitely. Okay. Anything else we got before we get into questions?
No, let's get into it.
Cool. All right, let me see if I can pull these bad boys up here. Got like 3 different channels that they're going to be going through, both on the thread of the podcast account, on my account, and on Instagram. So it's going to be interesting. And my filibuster is over. Moving to Japan ASAP. Prospect we would most likely would trade up for.
I'm trading up for Kwity Paye if he's in the low 20s, as you said. Devonte Smith, I'm trading up for. I think I could see the Ravens liking Devonte Smith very, very, very much so.
The odds of him falling, just in terms of like the sports books, are rising. So like saying that he's now favored to maybe start falling a little bit.
All of the insider mocks don't have him going very high as opposed to where he was. And it's just funny how this process has turned out. When we were in season, he was the player that everyone, including myself, was saying, we're not going to, we know how much he weighs. Everyone already knew he was light. We're not going to overthink him. We're not going to do it. And what has happened? We've done it. I am not subscribing to that. I love Devonte Smith. I think he's one of the most intelligent wide receivers I can remember. And I think he wants to prove everybody wrong. I think he fits that whole prove everybody wrong Ravens.
You know what it reminds me of? He's in dialogue with Jalen Waddle here, of a lot of people saying, well, Waddle is the better prospect. And I frankly would probably prefer Waddle, depending on the team that I'm talking about. But
Waddle might be the best player in the draft.
It reminds me of the Amari Cooper, Kevin White conversation from 2015, where it's Kevin White's the athletic freak. Amari Cooper's just kind of the polished B-plus guy. And then Amari Cooper turned out to be really good, and Kevin White never did anything. So I'm not saying that's going to happen with either of these guys necessarily one way or the other, but I'm taken by that a little bit.
I agree. And if you have him at 19, at 20, I will plant my flag and a guarantee that if Devonte Smith is at 17, 18, 19, we'll hear it just how we did with CeeDee Lamb. The Ravens started to call. They're going to want to give up, a 4th and then 5th next year or something and try and move up or some sort of weird little swap that doesn't go to their detriment and get Devonte Smith. So Kwity Paye for me, I love in this defense now and later. Devonte Smith, I think he just fits that. Lamar Jackson wasn't supposed to do it. Marquise Brown wasn't supposed to do it. Mentality.
He's also like a buzzy big school receiver. You can imagine Lamar's probably been watching him a lot, likes him a lot, and that would be a factor.
His reaction on Instagram, Lamar's reaction on Instagram would be,
"Don't cry, Devonte."
No, Devonte would be mean mugging. He's like reminds me like a 35-year-old already. I think he's grown as hell. I watched an interview with him and Shannon Sharp, and he was like, "I'm keeping my Altima. I don't care about, he's like, I might get a Firebird eventually after I buy my mama house." And
that's sick.
Well, Shannon Sharp was like, "No, you're getting a Chevelle. Don't come up in here telling me you're getting a blah, 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 blah." And he's like, well, I like what I like. I like Firebirds. I'm going to get a Firebird. And he was like, not allowed. But
what is he, Cliff Booth? He's going to be driving a Firebird around? That's sick.
Devonte Smith was like, I'm into old cars. And Shannon Sharp was like, oh, what, Chevelles, Impalas. Like, he's like, Firebird. He's like, get the hell out of here. Get this guy. Did someone tell him to come in? Someone tell him to say that to me? Shannon Sharp started going off. But I just think he fits that whole underdog mentality on offense. The defense used to have the underdog mentality. Now it's like Marlon Humphrey playing polo on the beach.
What the hell is going on there?
He wants to be an icon. Like, he's a $100 million man. He wants to be an icon.
He's trying to be one.
He's on the Boot Barn. Is it Boot Barn? Is that what it was?
Who the fuck knows?
I think it's Boot Barn. Well, because Boot Barn, if you're driving down 95 through the South, it's Boot Barn, Boot Barn, Boot Barn everywhere. I'm pretty sure it was, which is hilarious because the pictures were so bougie for a Boot Barn. But yeah, he just wants to be that mogul.
He does. I think he's like said as much. Like, which, if you're putting a word to it, then maybe it's not going to work out for you very well. Like, Marlon is. I love Marlon. He's an amazing player. He's maybe a little bit more of a Charlie Brown-esque figure than you might think on the surface.
I just remember J.K. Dobbins commenting on his Boot Barn and was like, "You got a long ass head, boy."
He's getting roasted. What is his shitty takes on Twitter that I monitor pretty closely?
He's doing it on purpose too. He got the reaction he wanted. So then
he knows it's me too. He's targeting me specifically. I know you're listening right now, and you're coming at me with your wire takes.
Soon he's gonna be like, Wegman sucks. Soft shell crab is awful.
Yeah, fucking
Titleist is for fucking losers.
Dogfish is trash.
Salisbury, never heard of it.
Well, I wouldn't blame him for that, but at the
Ocean
same
City sucks.
Listen, we're not doing this.
Yeah, they have the defense has that whole. They're cocky now.
They're
Marcus
Hollywood.
Peters is
the defense is Hollywood.
Yeah,
now.
as Calais Campbell's the president. Derek Wolfe has his goddamn dreads. His posts to Instagram of him like doing the personification of the wolf. Number one, I love because I love wolves, but number two is Hollywood. It's like Colorado Hollywood. He had a time in Denver. We all know that. And then Deshaun Elliott is like walking down the goddamn runway in Fashion Week. Chuck Clark is like, I'm not associated with anyone on this defense.
He just never talks.
Yeah, Chuck Clark is like, no, Chuck Clark is a humble dad. That's all he is.
Good for him.
Good for him. And then Patrick Queen is like half posting. I'm not even whatever. I'm not going to get into Patrick Queen. He's ready for that. He's ready.
He's the Marlin of the front seven.
Yes, by far. He's ready. He's ready for all that. He wants to be the mogul too. He just got a sick Audi. He's wearing the skinny jeans all ripped up. He's ready for it.
He's our Gen Z king. Jordan McLaughlin, he asked this question. We got a couple more on them, so we can probably just lump them into this one. Potential nightmare scenarios or picks you would dislike the most. I do not. DJ just mocked them. Jason Owe. I am not into that at all.
I think Vaz too. Who is the only person Vaz hates? Who is it?
He hates Greg Rousseau. If they fucking pick Greg Rousseau and I have to listen to him just like absolutely man on a leg, Sam Worthington, like just I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore for his personal mental health and for me not having to deal with it anymore. I just no Rousseau for that reason.
So Vaz said the only player out of the top 45 or so players he doesn't want is Rousseau. You say OA. I think I've bulletproofed. I've watched them too many times, and I've found the good in so many players that I've like bulletproofed myself for this. I think a quarterback would piss me the fuck off. I think.
Well, yeah,
I'm trying to think of the most disappointing player. Pat Freiermuth would piss me off, big time. Pat Freiermuth would piss me off.
In which round?
1.
Okay.
If Pat Freiermuth is the pick at 20, it's Hayden Hurst all over again. And no slight to Hayden. I didn't really know much about Hayden. I didn't think I didn't think a tight end was an option in the first round then.
I liked that pick at the time, but it's like, all right, well, they just got another tight end, and it's just Joe Flacco again for a year. Let's run it back.
Yeah, it was like, okay, here we go again. So Hurst he infuriated me. So I'll go Freiermuth again. Of the edges, I guess OA is tough because he is just such an analytics darling that it's like I already have that excuse.
Which I like to stuff those nerds in a locker, so that's why I'm going against it.
Exactly. So that one's tough. Ojulari would tear me apart like a little bit. I would like it a lot, but Derek Clausen, friend of the show, had a nice article that was like, he is a good player. He can't be your best pass rusher. You don't have any pass rush. I see that. I guess Jalen Mayfield, I think is maybe a first-round guard type. No, he's definitely not. I overrated him early on in the process. Jalen Mayfield, I guess, would kind of be weird. Raduns I like, so that's not going to make me mad. I think it's quarterback. Any non-Kyle Pitts.
I don't want a running back, I'll say that. I know you would be fine with Najee, but I wouldn't want that.
I would be fine. I wouldn't be inconsolable over Najee. I'd be fine with that. That would be really stupid in many ways, but it makes sense. They're going all in. They're doing their thing, and they do have 2 first-round picks, so it's like, okay. Fine. And if he doesn't, that would be nuts. I don't think that's possible. I really don't think that's
Well, yeah,
possible.
I don't think that quarterback, all these other things that we're discussing, I don't know if they're really realistic,
Greg Newsome, I think, would be weird.
I could see them going corner, though. I could.
Yeah. Greg Newsome would be weird. I would like Dickerson. I would like Humphrey. I would like...
There's a lot of guys I'd like.
Eichenberg is someone that I've watched enough to have a little bit of an opinion on him. He's got the pedigree. He doesn't have long arms. He has some tackle versatility because he played left tackle at Notre Dame. I don't really have too strong of an opinion one way or another on him. I don't know. I think I'm pretty bulletproof. I think I'll be pretty happy with whatever the result is, unless they trade up for like someone not ideal. I don't know. I think I'm okay.
Okay. Jonathan Evans. What would you do if the Ravens traded up to take a QB, as has been asininely suggested?
If it was Justin Fields and it was like 5 picks, I'd be like, okay. I would be very upset about Lamar. I love Lamar. I will get a Lamar tattoo if he wins a Super Bowl for Baltimore. I love Justin Fields, so that would be the only one that if it was like 3 picks and they're like, fuck it, we're getting him. I would be like, okay, that's okay. If it's Mac Jones, and fuck no. If it's Kyle Trask, you don't want to see what happens. If it's Davis Mills, most overrated quarterback in this process, I think, is Davis Mills. I like him as like a, backup type, maybe.
He just sounds like a backup, Davis Mills.
Yeah, Davis Mills. No.
I would be inconsolable. As much as like I like to put my analyst hat on here and there and be objective, like Lamar is my fucking guy. I am not giving up on him.
I have the Wild Dog sweatshirt. Like, I'm full
Me
Lamar.
too. Yeah, he's my man. I bought his jersey like literally right away.
Yep, we both have Lamar jerseys. We're both Wild Dog boys. We'd be upset. Objectively, I watched the Ravens squander quarterback choices my whole life and I was not a Joe Flacco guy. His rookie year, I turned to one of my best friends. I was watching it in his parents' living room in high school. They lose the Steelers. I turned to him and I was like, Joe Flacco will never win a Super Bowl in the Ravens. Like, he is not the answer.
I was a big Flacco guy, but I also didn't really understand QB play when they first got him. And I was just like, oh, this is just a young guy. He's just their quarterback, and that's just the reality of it. And I just didn't really put any more thought into it.
Like, Joe Flacco.
Yeah, not until it got to like maybe like 2010 or so, I started to pay a little more attention to that stuff. And I was like, yeah, okay, like this is my guy. And that was around the time that he started to get pretty good. So.
Exactly. So he proved me wrong. I loved Flacco in his homestead. So that was me. It was a solid 10 years of absolute ineptitude. Steve McNair being the best they had. I think what did he have? What did he throw? 15 touchdowns?
Like maybe 20 or whatever. I don't even know.
9 interceptions or something, and the defense was awesome. That was like their best quarterback play. So yeah, I don't want to see the Ravens go back to having some sort of uncertainty at the quarterback position after having an MVP. I think it would be unprecedented in the history of the sport, and I don't think a lot of fans would take it very well. And when you're messing with the quarterback like that, it's something that can turn a lot of people off. And I think the people it's terrible. And so we can lump it in with a question we got from Hugh. What are your thoughts on how big an L Bucky Brooks needs to take for his graduate Lamar BS? It's fucking terrible. Like that's the video gamification. It just has to be Lamar that it has to be.
No, it has to be him, of course. And the average production, shove it up your fucking ass, Bucky. Average production. Give me a fucking break. Have you watched the guy, for one thing? Have you looked at his numbers for another? He just won a playoff game. Can we finally fucking move on from this? No, we can't. For whatever reason. It has to be him. Some of the other guys in his class, haven't quite achieved the same stuff that he has. Average production.
That was definitely the most insulting part of what he said. And
it's just like, it's the video gamification of this shit. Yeah, we're going to get rid of our young MVP quarterback because, oh, wow, an opportunity to acquire an asset has fallen down the board, and now we have to punch the calculations in and go, and this equation plugs in here, and that's like, no, that is not how this shit works. If you do that, that is disrespectful to him, and if they do that, and I'm Justin Fields, I'm thinking long and hard about whether I'm actually signing a contract with them. That is horseshit.
That would also be true, of course. That would be true. Good point about Justin Fields.
There's human elements here to consider, people. It's not a fucking video game. I'm sorry.
And it's not. I just don't even think it's even the human elements. It's just like you have a quarterback that's taken you to the playoffs 3 years.
That's literally where all I needed to say. But that's been weighing on me. I had to get it all out.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. But I get Bucky's point. But again, I think the players you say that about are Baker Mayfield.
Right. And who's been fine and who I like. But like, if you want to say that, listen, I'm, not necessarily like biased one way or the other about him. I'd be fine with that. If I were a Browns fan, I'd probably be pissed, but it's just like, come on, man. Like
Baker, I think I lump Baker, Kirk Cousins, and Ryan Tannehill, and Baker's the only one that's on the rookie contract, but it's like that.
Yeah, no,
is
Kirk
the player.
Cousins is fine. Vikings, no discussions with them about a quarterback. They're all set.
And I just saw the first person I think I've seen on Twitter. It was PFF Eric was like, this will be just like 1998 if Justin Fields falls right into the Vikings' laps.
I think he is a Vikings fan.
Fields?
Eric Eager.
Probably. But he was like, it would be just like 1998 if Fields falls to the Vikings, which is Randy Moss. And that all clicked in my head, and I was like, wow, that is a fantastic move for Minnesota. He would be an upgrade physically from Kirk Cousins and able to maybe sit for a little bit behind him, and then wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. That is the kind of transition you're talking about. And then the other worst part of Bucky's comments was that another quarterback that the Ravens can go get all these college I mean, they fucking did that with Trace McSorley, and we love Trace more than anyone else does, but it's like, yes, they created a system where your backup can give you 16 points, you can hold the ball for 37 minutes, and your really good, expensive defense with awesome corners can play a really competitive game. So your backups can play a very competitive style of football, but to insinuate that the production can be matched, that is the absolute disconnect.
It's just, you just plug a guy in and he just goes, and that's the end of it, and the system is great. Well, if the system's so great, what is all this Greg Roman discourse? And if the system is so great, what is all this wide receiver belly aching? And if the system is so great, I just like why, Trace McSorley gets in there, doesn't look the same. Tyler Huntley gets in there with a similar, somewhat similar athletic profile, doesn't quite look the same. It just doesn't work like that. And it's like, it goes back to this whole like roster construction, and it's all so important, and it is important to an extent. But sometimes when quarterbacks get involved, that stuff just becomes way less important. Nobody wants to say it because it's kind of a nihilistic take, but like the Chiefs get lauded for being this amazing organization. All the things the Chiefs do, their great scheme, the roster construction, it's amazing. Sorry, Voss, if I'm talking directly to you, I don't want this to come across like that. But if they had Patrick Mahomes, none of that shit matters. They're going 8-8 at best. They're going 11-5 with Alex Smith, exiting the playoffs in the first round. They have Patrick Mahomes. That's why they've gone to 2 straight Super Bowls. Not any of the other shit. He's the reason why.
It's just starting over when you don't have to.
It's too cute. It's not real. It's not real life.
It's not real life. I agree. So I hope a team does it soon and tries it out. Basically, I mean, Goff and Wentz, those would have been the guys to do it with, but both of those teams didn't, and it fucking costed them. But to say that Lamar is Goff or Wentz, it's not the case. That's not the mojo. He is and to use one of Bucky's his number one little analogy. Bucky's an analogy.
Truck in the trailer.
The truck in the trailer. Lamar is the truck, Bucky, and he don't fucking buck.
Which was sick, by the way. You talk about Lamar being my guy, him being willing to clap back at that fucking dork. We like
Bucky's
that.
someone I've said it. Bucky's someone I used to respect. I used to, think I was learning a lot from his fucking quips and little analogies and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to listen to Move the Sticks anymore. This is not just because of that, but I can really only listen to Daniel Jeremiah. I literally left here the other night and put on Move the Sticks as I was driving back and heard something that made me think to myself, this is why I don't listen to Move the Sticks anymore, Bucky. Like, every episode he says something that is so completely off base, it's just untrue. And Dan Jeremiah's just like, yeah, okay. He just lets it roll right on through. Bucky's got a nice little job for himself. And Lamar's not going to. The funniest part about it is just like,
you just get too in the weeds where you're saying the same shit every year, essentially.
Exactly.
You try to find a fresh new perspective to take into it. And I can understand being experimental and coming out and talking about this idea, like you've said there, but it's just like, why does he have to use this example? Like, can we just not? It's frustrating. Okay. Jonathan, draft night drink of choice, a fun one to maybe pull me back from the angry pits there.
ice cold beer.
We got some cold beers down in the fridge right now, a little Stella Artois. So we'll have that, maybe get some other stuff in the mix. I actually got, I think, a little bit of tequila left, so maybe we'll get into that at some point. But we'll certainly see. We are going to be hopping on with the SB Nation NFL show stream to discuss the Ravens pick. I think right before and right after they said something like that. So we might have to do our stream in 2 parts, just so everyone knows. But yeah, we're going to be going up until that. We're probably going to have like 2-3 hours just riffing as the draft rolls on. But we're gonna see with trade ups like we've been hinting at.
We'll be chilling. It's not going to be go watch your other draft shows, watch the draft, whatever. We're going to be chilling, hanging out, talking, and stuff happens. So we're not going to be. In other words, I'm like going to have my hand down my pants, like sitting here like a fat fuck a couple times.
Which is what this podcast is for the most part, anyway.
Exactly. So join us, have a couple drinks. If you're unable to watch with anyone else who's a Ravens fan and you want to, come join us, and we'll be chilling.
Yep, gonna be fun. John Smith, we need a center and a pass rusher, then trade other draft picks for Julio. So the Julio thing can't actually happen until June 1, people are saying.
The Falcons would incur. I have the picture of it right here. Falcons incur $20 million debt. Let's see. Falcons incur $23,253,000 against their cap if they trade him before June 1st. So his entire cap hit for this year goes into their cap, which they can't do that. It would cripple them. They wouldn't be able to get to the cap. They're already in bad shape with the cap. If they trade him after June 1st, they would save $8 million approximately. It would be a savings of $15.3 million, and they would have $7.75 million dead against their cap, so they'd save approximately $8 million this year if they trade him after June 1st. So I believe one of the next questions leading up to that is if the Ravens don't take a receiver, is it because yada, yada, yada? Someone asked that, I'm pretty sure. You'll see it somewhere. I know I saw that. So I would say no. If they don't take a receiver, it's because they want to get a later round one and they think they are going against the market inefficiencies and yada, yada, yada. They're happy, with Sammy Watkins and stuff. And I don't hate that, but I hate not addressing the offensive side of the football with one of the first 2 picks, wherever the first 2 picks are. So if you don't go draft an offensive lineman that can contribute pretty quickly, that would mean a guy like Spencer Brown that I do like for the Ravens. He's not someone I'm comfortable starting immediately. He didn't play last year. He played in the FCS, and he, has some refinement that's needed. So if they go get someone like that at the best and don't acquire a receiver, with or any whatever. I mean, I said Freiermuth would piss me off, but at least it's something on the offensive side of the football. That would be egregious, but I don't think that's because they're getting Julio. I think that's just because they are who they are, and they are who we thought they were.
Yeah, I think they just don't. I also think, to the point we've made earlier about picks that they've made and sort of their track record at the position, I just think they don't really care about like having a high pedigree center. So we'll see if that is
like I said,
they've play.
Never taken one high. They've never drafted one high.
And like they're probably not the only one. I feel like that's a position where like if you're smart enough,
it's also a really hard position for a rookie in terms of cerebral capacity. Even a guy like Creed Humphrey's probably going to come in and
you got to be smart. You got to be outspoken. You got to be willing to handle a lot of the duties for the offensive line. You're the quarterback of the offensive line, basically.
Yeah, you're the pivot. You're the help. You're the one who has to identify the games and the stunts and be able to be in the right place. And Creed Humphrey may be the smartest guy in this entire draft among offensive linemen, and that's things that if you go watch Jeff Schwartz's Big Boys Camp, whatever the hell it was called, that was actually awesome. Great job, Jeff Schwartz. And they were talking about Creed Humphrey. They asked Duke Manyweather what's his one thing, and he was like, "There's not a lot at all you can say, but it's recognizing game, it's recognizing stunts quickly and being in the right place, making sure that there's a small gap, and he usually gets it anyway." The one rep they showed of him is a bad example, and they're like, "Creed, what went wrong here?" It was like he was a quarter of a step late identifying a DB that looped in, and he still put him in the fucking dirt. And I was just like, oh my God. That was his bad rep.
Feels like it could be, they could use that in Baltimore. But
they certainly could. Bring that little lefty. Bring the Phil Mickelson of centers.
There you go. We like that. Eric, knowing that we need at least one edge and one offensive lineman, what is your preferred combo? Round 1, offensive line, and round 3, edge, or vice versa, round 1, edge, round 3, offensive line? The other first in this scenario is used for another position, he says.
I mean, me personally, when I want to go pick and go through all these damn mock drafts, the draft is going to play out differently, but like I'm an idiot, so I'm going to take William Bradley King in the 3rd round, and I'm going to take the offensive lineman in the 1st round, and I'm going to be happy because I've got a guy that I've got my eyes on in the 3rd round there. For whoever the Ravens, whatever the most likely thing I think the Ravens would do, the vibes that we get, I would rather see still rather see an offensive lineman early, to be honest.
Bet on Lamar Jackson. Don't hedge against him. Do whatever you need to do to surround him with the requisite talent. And so I'm going to go offensive line round 1. Whatever else you do with that other first-round pick, edge round 3. You can figure it out at edge. I have faith in you.
I can hear Lamar Jackson's voice if they took Creed Humphrey. It would be like he's doing the IG Live. He's like, okay, he a big boy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just like some really just hard-hitting analysis on Creed Humphrey.
Yes.
John Smith, the best possible draft from the worst possible board. So if Bateman, Morig, Jenkins, Tryon, and the favorites all get picked, what is the best possible scenario from a wrecked draft board? It's interesting.
It requires a lot of mental gymnastics.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to map that out.
I get so who's the worst? Who's the best worst player? Kind of.
Yeah, basically.
Dylan Radins, maybe, North Dakota State, Senior Bowl Player of the Week. He's got the length, he's got the height, he's good in pass pro. And I guess Rousseau or Jason Owe or Terrace Marshall or Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's the worst scenario. Best worst scenario, whatever.
Which, listen, that's a solid enough haul for me. Garnett, yeah, okay. So I think this is what you were talking about. Not drafting a receiver in the first 2 rounds or is not an indication for a potential Julio trade.
I don't think they go through their draft anticipating trades that might happen in 3 months.
Right. It's
1 month.
So could they hypothetically just agree to it and then execute it after June 1st?
I don't think you can really hold. I don't think you they could agree, but I don't think you trust that agreement to the point where you're okay, we're willing to not take whatever our plan was going to be is now gone. We trust the Falcons are going to give us Julio. I don't think you can have the trade.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of whether you can or can't, I don't think it's smart to go into a draft and say, all right, well, even if it's handshake agreed to, we've got Julio Jones in the fold. I don't know if you really want to draft.
If it's
around
we are going to give the best offer no matter what anyone gives. We will give the Falcons whatever they want. We'll give them a 1st-round pick and a 3rd-round pick and a 4th-round pick for a 32-year-old receiver. If that is it, I get that, and that's not what that would be against everything that the Ravens have ever done in their front office history.
Yeah, it's tough. Jonathan, drums or go ahead.
They're not going to take themselves to the mattresses.
No, they're not. They've got
to the cleaners
magnetic board that they're going to be putting the players up and down and climbing the metallic staircase that we don't need anymore.
Magneto is going to remove the iron from my bloodstream.
Wow. Jonathan, drums or flats? Correct answer is boneless wings.
I think I like drums better than, I like flats better than drums. Drums just too much. It's always so much cartilage to rip, and I just love splitting the little splitting it out and being able to pull it off one side.
Fair enough. Josh Skinner, who will make the biggest draft shock of the night? Who's going to reach and for who? Is Bill going to make a big move?
He seems to be. Bill might be getting old and being I don't feel like doing this that much longer. Yeah, I'm trying to make some noise.
Quarterback Tom actually left town last year. We just decided that it was kind of best to let him walk out the door and decided to go up and get Justin. I feel like he's going to be a great fit here.
Justin, somebody we've had our eye on over the last 2 years.
Get him in behind Cam, and Cam's going to be teaching him how to dress and walking around wearing their Johnny Appleseed foxtail hats, and it's just going to be a really, really great situation. It's tremendous. And Jules obviously just retired, so we went ahead and we drafted, who's ever the shortest white slot guy that we could find there in the 2nd round, and he's going to be just a go-to player there for Justin. And we put him in 3 years down the line, and it's just going to be really, really good.
We've had our eyes on Justin since he was about 3 years old. We knew that when Tom was Yeah, they'll be like, yeah, we've had our eye on Justin Fields since he was 14 years old. We knew Tom would be retiring right around 2020, 2021, so we figured we had a guy in place there with Justin.
Yeah, it's going to be old classic, genius Bill.
That one, wherever Devonte Smith goes, shocker. I don't know. Jason Oweh going ridiculously high because he ran 4.3 and jumped 11 feet to, like, the Raiders trade up for him.
I feel like Trey Lance would be a reach, like if he goes really high. Me personally, but it's probably going to happen. So
that's not a shocker though.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It would be. I would say that's very stupid, but
a small one I guess would be maybe Rashawn Slater going ahead of Sewell, Jalen Phillips going top 10. I think maybe like 8 tackles in the offensive round, or whatever. What did I just say? 8 tackles in the first round, or 8 offensive linemen in the first round. Maybe Landon Dickerson going super high. Yeah, I don't know.
Freiermuth in the first round would be weird to me.
Freiermuth like in the top 25-ish would be weird, and I guess someone falls out. There's got to be Darisaw falls out, or I don't know.
Hustle Westbrook. One or more of the top 4 pass catchers fall. How far do they need to fall for us to trade up and get them? What guy do you see falling? What guy would you want to trade up for the most? I think we've said Devonte Smith probably the most likely of the core 4 there. Considering the realism that may be happening, he would be my guy probably.
Yeah, so I guess like narrowing it down even more would be the top 3, which would be Pitts, Chase, and Waddle. I guess Waddle, and I just don't see a world where Waddle makes it out of the top 13, 14, but I've been saying this, and I've been getting shit from Vaz and some others that I didn't think 4 pass catchers were going to go in the top 15 picks, and lo and behold, now Devonte Smith, I bet his over-under, if you go look on DraftKings Sportsbook or whatever, is probably like 16.5 or something now. And
this literally happened last year. CeeDee Lamb and CeeDee Lamb and Judy were lock top 10 picks.
De'Ami Brown first round is not something I would be surprised by at all either.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb and Judy were bona fide top 10 picks. They fall. Ruggs goes before them. So you don't know what's going to happen.
Like De'Ami Brown is the ultimate Michael Pittman of this year. Consolation prize in the second round. Him, Bateman, maybe, and Dwayne Eskridge, Amari Rodgers. Like there's some serious guys. So falling is not out of the question. And I don't know. Maybe the Browns make a move and get another receiver. That's been a rumor for a while, but we'll see.
Space Ghost gives us his PFF mock draft. So glad that we're going to be done with these here in a minute.
The PFF ones are trash because they are on. I think that the value is not right.
Yeah, they're unrealistic. So he says, if we end Saturday with this haul, what else needs to be added? So we got Rashad Bateman, Tevin Jenkins in the first round, Ben Cleveland at 77 with a trade. Then he gets Quincy Roche at 104, Ellerson Smith at 136, Robert Hainsey at 171, Jonathan Cooper 184, Shakur Brown 210.
No William Bradley King, no Cornell Powell.
You don't like it.
Trash.
Joaquin Phoenix Dutch.
I like that one a lot. Yeah, that's fine. That didn't sound too unrealistic. Tevin Jenkins might not be there. Rashad Bateman could slip into the second round. Yeah, that's all good and dandy. Ben Cleveland, big motherfucker. I like Quincy Roche. He's got tiny little arms, but yeah.
Jimmy D, what position can the Ravens draft an immediate starter? I feel like there's a couple different answers there.
Edge.
Wide out, probably.
Wide out might not be a day one starter.
It just depends on who it is. They could realistically. I think they could realistically plug Bateman in from day one, or
Elijah Moore,
maybe even Marshall. I mean, if he impresses in camp and is like more polished than we expect,
could certainly be a possibility. He's gonna. Marshall gives me a headache. Then at tackle, Tevin Jenkins.
Yeah, tackle definitely feels like it. Center feels like it.
Center definitely feels like it. Even a guy like Josh Myers, Ohio State, just in the third round, he could be a starter at center. Offensive line's weird. I don't know. Like there's a lot of good, not a lot, but there's some good mid-round picks last year. Damian Lewis and Cushenberry.
Damian Lewis from Billions?
Billions. I love when he punches that guy in the face by the pool. Yeah, center, and then, of course, edge rusher. Maybe a little slot action. Maybe a little Elijah Molden. A little Aaron Robinson. I think that's about it.
He follows up top 5 edge guys who could be Sam Fitz.
Let me look at my stupid fucking thing.
Ojulari, maybe you're right.
Ojulari, maybe I'm just blind, but a lot of people were talking about him dropping in coverage, and I really didn't see it happen that much, and I didn't see him do it like...
You might just be thinking of me saying that, and I have a more untrained eye.
No, you're not the only one. There's multiple that made me think I was crazy, like a lot. So I thought I was crazy. He basically would sit in the slot and fuck someone up at the line of scrimmage and then stand there, is what I saw. But he can move a little bit. So Sam Fitz, Tryon, I like a lot at Sam. Ojulari, sure, we'll throw him in there. People probably would say Osai, but I don't think he can really cover it all. I think that's another myth. Quincy Roche covered a little bit and can set the edge okay as short arms. Dalen Hayes out of Notre Dame is another one that I like. And I think that's 5-ish.
He then says, can Morig be a true center fielder? See a lot of man-max coverage.
Yeah, that's a good observation. I don't think that the Ravens like many safeties in that, and I don't think they need that an incredible amount. They like playing man coverage a lot. I think the answer is yes, and the reason I think the answer is yes, especially off the bat, is because of Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. So I think that they're comfortable with those two, especially Marlon, and especially if he can return to the boundary or shadow, being able to have a rookie that can be very steady and not need to worry too much about what his corners are doing, long story short.
Brandon Minnick unloads the clip here. I can't help myself on Benjamin St. Just in a later round. I know he's not a huge need, but that size and length. What do you guys also think of Christian Uphoff as a late-round safety?
I've only seen Twitter clips of Christian Uphoff. He has a sweet name, and I don't have a great commentary to have about him. I've read some scouting reports and things, so I'm not gonna stick my foot in my mouth there. I haven't watched him. Benjamin St. Just, yeah, he's long, he's strong, he's down to get the friction on. I like him as a fit in a press man system very much so. I like him even more in like a cover 3 system where he can kind of chill on the boundary even more so and get vertical. So yeah, Benjamin St. Just, I had him as I'm actually watching Vaz edit my article right now. He's right there. You can see it. Damn. And I have Benjamin St. Just as my 9th overall corner. So I like him.
Nice. What do you guys think of Milton Williams? I know the test numbers are insane, but I just don't see it on tape at all.
Did Vaz? Oh, Vaz is playing with me.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait, never mind. Milton Williams this is the thing, Milton Williams tested out of this world, but when he played David Moore and when he played Larnell Coleman and when he played some NFL caliber strength linemen, he got manhandled a lot. So that plus having 31.5-inch arms, I think he might be a little bit juiced up in this draft process. With that being said, the athleticism is unreal. The fit itself in the Ravens defense, where do you exactly put him? His arms are very short. We've talked about the length that the Ravens edges usually have. He's not going to play nose, 3-tech-ish. I don't think he fits the 4-tech, 5-tech very well. But, he's like the Aaron Donald comparison is him, and it's like the Tyreek Hill, the Anquan, like he's the new, everyone calls him Aaron Donald, so hopefully I'm on freezing cold takes and this clip is played.
I like what I saw. I would really like it if they could get a Milton, because the GIFs and the reaction videos that I'd be able to put out there, it's fucking endless.
Milton.
My swing line stapler. He finishes with, okay, if you can get Julio and still draft a receiver, who are we getting rid of? Me personally, I'm ready to get off Boykin. Listen, if you want to, whatever you want to do in the comfort of your own home with Miles Boykin, whether he consents to that or not, that is certainly your prerogative.
Okay.
He's ready to get him off. I mean, what do you want from me?
Up off. He wants to get Christian up off of Boykin.
Get up off of that.
Get out ball for that, Christian. Yeah, whatever. I don't really care anymore. I don't know. Just end my life.
You're saying you don't care anymore.
Just end my life. I don't.
Don't say that.
Can wide receivers not be?
It's blasphemy.
Can the football not be thrown anymore? Like, I'm done with the throwing of the football.
It's just like the old football guy saying that every time you throw the ball, there are 3 things that can happen, and 2 of them are bad. We should just go all in on rushing, like just chewing grass and just like drinking beer and just like farting and just be a football guy podcast.
Just don't throw the ball anymore. I'm tired of talking about throwing the football and the receivers.
It's a lot.
Who am I done with? I'm done with Sammy Watkins.
Damn, dude.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm done with I'm done with James Prochet on the low.
Yeah, me too. And I love I'm not actually done with him, but I'm just done with the discourse.
I hope he catches 50 passes this year. I really fucking do, and I think he could. I think if he was there, I think he could be a Kamar Aiken.
Yeah, that's probably the best. Like, you talk about relative athletic score. I mean, that's got to be a pretty similar one.
Probably. I think he could be a Kamar Aiken. I think he could be a guy who catches 80 passes and gets the job done for you when you need him to. Sure, but let's take a shut the fuck up on him.
Shut the fuck up. KG Money Swag, Azeez Ojulari at 27 and Alex Leatherwood at 31, or Tevin Jenkins at 27 and Jason Owe at 31. I'd go the first one, Ojulari and Leatherwood.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
Eric G. Clark, my dream scenario is that we pick 2 offensive linemen in round 1, ideally Leatherwood and Humphrey. Why would you hate it? Why would you love it? Stanley, Bose, Creed, Zeitler, Leatherwood. If works right, could be 3 years of continuity and dominance with powerful O-line. I'd love it because of what you mentioned there, just knowing who you are, sticking with what you do, that kind of thing. I would hate it because I do.
Oh, I thought you were still reading. Oh my God.
No, that's sorry if I went a little.
No. You just smoothly transitioned, and I was like, wow, this guy really put a lot in this one.
Yeah, listen. I mean, I always put a lot into everything.
Incredible. Ridiculous.
But yeah, so I would love it because they're just sticking with their philosophy and build up the trenches, build up the offensive line. I would hate it because I feel like it would depend on how the board fell. But
it was what? Leatherwood and what?
Leatherwood and
Ojulari?
So he's talking about like going all in on offensive line in round 1. He says he wants Leatherwood and Humphrey.
Oh.
Why would you hate it? Why would you love it?
Oh, I wouldn't hate it. I would love it all the way. Leatherwood and Humphrey would be sweet. I think you're getting a 10-year center, and I think you're getting a very strong run blocker who can work with Lamar Jackson well in terms of what Leatherwood struggles to do at is with those speed rushers. If you've got Ronnie Stanley on one side and you know that, if you can't see what's happening with Leatherwood, you might need to step up into the right a little bit. I think Lamar can work with that quite well. He has quicker feet than DJ Fluker, all that good stuff. So, all in, like Jake was going to probably finish saying, all in on offense in some capacity is sick overall. We'll be fine with a defensive player, but if they fail to address offense in this draft, it's just going to be like, you guys better be right and we all better be all wrong. Every single person that ever pays attention to the Ravens better be wrong, and the Baltimore Ravens front office better be right, or else it is not going to be pretty. I don't think pretty for the coaching staff. It's going to create a lot of discontent and malcontent if they just continuously don't give Joe Flacco weapons going into his contract and then Lamar Jackson weapons and assurance going into his second contract. That would be annoying. So
It's quite insulting. I'm insulted by it too, to be honest.
Yeah. So go in Humphrey and Leatherwood. That's fine. Leatherwood maybe a little bit of a risky pick. Humphrey doesn't feel like it is at all. So do it. Do the damn thing. You don't have to talk about the offensive line. You don't have to worry about the offensive line. You can go try and acquire a veteran receiver from another team. And then, at that point, if they did that, go draft all defense with the rest of the draft. I don't care. But you made a serious commitment with your heavy capital to the offense.
And then AJ asked something to the effect of what players would you hate at 27 and 31. We kind of already answered that, so I will switch over to Instagram. BossHoss00, starting off with an interesting one. Not sure where or why he chose this, but does fish suck is his question. The answer to that is no. Trey Anastasio, bona fide star.
Fish sucks.
Oh, dude, you haven't caught him in the right spot, man. I saw him at Red Rocks one summer, 97. They fucking melted my face, dude. Then I was following him up the coast to Noblesville, man. It was crazy. The rendition of Farmhouse that they played for us. It was a spiritual experience, man. I'm telling you.
Fish sucks.
You suck. I don't know why he asked that, but I'm a fan of fish. Harder Swami. Will Ojulari fall to 27 and or 31? I feel like probably yeah.
Yes.
He might fall past that. Shram Alexander, what is the drink of choice for draft night, gentlemen? I think we already said that Stella. Here's one. If you had to compare a prospect to food, who is the Thrashers fries of the draft?
Will Fries, motherfuckers.
Some fries, motherfucker.
Will Fries, Penn State. Gotcha, bitch.
I would say
Will Fries. Who's a French fry? Who's a Thrasher's fry? Who's got that vinegar? That sweet vinegar you pour on there. A little bit of Old Bay.
I would say Rondale Moore is the Thrasher's fries because you don't know how much you're going to be getting him / getting it. You know, it's maybe a little bit more of an occasional thing, but it always hits when it touches the ball / touches your mouth.
That was beautiful. Continue on.
Okay. Alex Smearman. Oh, look at this. Will Rondale Moore go in the first round? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I'm going to try and make this brief. I listened to the Rich Eisen show. Steve Smith Sr. was talking about when Steve Smith was playing, he said when he was above 198, when he tried to play at like 205 one year, he blew his hammies out 3 times. He was too big. When he tried to go below 192-ish, his body didn't feel right. He couldn't perform very well. He didn't feel explosive enough. He would also get hurt. I think Rondale Moore is playing way too heavy. He is way too jacked. He keeps having those hamstring injuries, and that's the me looking way too much into it. Thank you very much for coming to my TED Talk.
Very cool. How would we feel about Walker Little falling to us in the third? Don't know anything about him.
I haven't really watched him. He played in 2018 mainly. He's got 37 and 3/4 inch arms. He's huge and was supposed to be a first-round pick after his freshman year. That's all I got.
Feels like some good Chuck Norris meme potential there. Walker. Moore 44, Roche in the third. Yes.
Moore 44, Roche in the third. Which Moore?
He's saying his username is Moore 44.
Oh, Roche in the third. Yeah, I think Baltimore is a good place for him. I have like a second, third round grade on him, and he's kind of like Hassan Reddick. Just doesn't have super long arms, but he's not as athletic as Reddick. More polished of a pass rusher in ways. He was good at the Senior Bowl. Yeah, I'm definitely cool with Roche.
B-Rose 931. I'm skeptical about the Julio rumors. What do you guys think? I think they're sniffing around. I think they would maybe like to acquire him, but who knows what's going to happen on the Falcons side of things, as Jay Glazer is kind of saying here.
I don't know. I think it's a little serious. I don't think it's too serious.
B-Rose 931, just emptying the clip, as always.
Here he goes.
Chaps versus Andy Nelson's.
Oh, shit.
I've had Chaps more, so I'd probably just have to go Chaps by default.
If I could only ever have one again, which is how I always like to phrase things like this, I would probably go... I think I would probably go Chaps. Andy Nelson's has the dank sides, but Chaps is like a little experience. It's in like more of a little hut. Andy Nelson's is in like a barn, though. Both very cool.
Yeah, Andy Nelson's is actually a cool spot, too.
That little barn you can sit in outside with the big fans going and knowing that it was a Baltimore Colts establishment is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love those connections, obviously. B-Rose 931, likelihood they actually don't move from 27 and 31. That's an interesting one. Everyone's talking about how much of a certainty it is that they're going to move from one of those spots. What if they just sit pat?
I know my buddy Fair Shake Football loves that. He's very firm on not trading down and thinking that you're just decreasing the likelihood that you have a hit the lower you draft. I know Les Snead would probably be trying to trade those for a player, and he's picking if he's not. And John Schneider as well.
Les likes the flashy things in life, though. He's got the great hair. He's living the life out there. And
I don't think him and Eric DeCosta are friends.
I could see them getting along.
I don't think they do. I think they too different. That is literally, those are the polar opposites in every aspect of being a general manager and coast and lifestyle.
Are you just talking about the hair situation?
Hair, number one, East Coast, West Coast.
Well, Les is like from
sell the farm every year.
Les is from like Alabama, though. I think
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But he's flashy now.
he is flashy. Listen, he's
Boston and Alabama are not. I guess not Boston, but Massachusetts, Alabama, also very different.
yeah. Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, I get. You're convincing me on this a little bit.
DaCosta is a Massachusetts Maryland hybrid, and Snead is a Bama Cali hybrid. That's fucking indica versus sativa, dude.
Dude, you have not gotten the right strain yet, man. I got to hook you up with my guy, man. He's gonna help you out.
Incredible, ridiculous.
Incredible. Ridiculous.
Shout out to Team Toke down in San Bernardino. Gonna take some calls now. B Rose 931. Normalize the black jersey on purple pants combo. Underrated.
The fact that it started with normalized too.
Get this clown back to Chino Hills. Normalize the black jersey on purple pants combo. Underrated and forgotten, in my opinion. So black jersey on purple pants. I really don't like that. Everyone seems to love that combo. I don't like it.
Because all black is hard.
Black on like the dark purple
or black on white.
It just hits the. I love black on white. I think the black on the purple just hits my eye weird.
The purple hits my eye weird.
I mean, it does a little bit. It does a little bit.
Purple.
So, shout out to his family.
Yeah, I like white on purple pants, the new purple pants. I love that. I love the black on white. I love the all black. At what point though are they just gonna do this thing finally and change the uniforms? Because people have been talking about this for years at this point.
They need a uniform change. Like, come on.
I don't want them to go all millennially and like the
bone. You don't want the bone?
No, I don't want like the slideshow like 7 new Seattle Seahawks designs. Like I don't want them going all futuristic-y on it. Like that's my only fear.
Baltimore always wants to be very classy and classic with
and the current ones, they're not amazing by any stretch, but they fill that need to a certain extent. So that's kind of why
I think they're going to wait until like 2033 before they redo the jersey.
Which, like, if they were going to do it, it would have been ahead of 2019, and they didn't do it.
Nah, that would have been too much at once.
Yeah, but that's when teams do that shit. It's like when they get they transition to a new era. Yeah.
Yeah.
D. Beegs, I'm excited and terrified for this draft. Me too.
I'm not really terrified. I don't think I'm terrified. It's hard to be terrified when the team's not picking in like the top 5.
Good point. FLVKE. Ronnie Perkins is my guy. Thoughts on him to Baltimore?
See him more of as a hand in the dirt, traditional wide end, violent hands. He's got push pull, so I love that shit. It's my favorite pass rushing move, well documented. I don't think he's quite a match.
B Rose 931 back at it again with the white vans. Are we sure the impractical jokers haven't been running the Raiders draft since 2018? We're going to take Henry Ruggs at 12th overall, and we're going to piss off all our fans. Derek Carr's not going to know what's coming to him. We're going to trade up and get Justin Fields in the top 10. It's going to be crazy.
Okay, now what I need you to do.
I will never forgive you.
What I need you to do is tell the old woman to shit her pants. I think we're losing listeners.
Listen, if you're still listening, you're a fucking real one, I'll tell you that much. We are absolutely burnt out after the past couple months, but in a good way, I think. Ryan J. Laurie, Jimmy G goes where? He goes to New England.
That's like, I think that kind of like came out an hour or two ago.
Yeah, actually there is like a rumor there that they're kind of already working on that, so that would be my guess.
Tom Brady will be so mad.
That would be pretty funny, honestly. He follows up, are we getting a hungover post-draft thought stream as well, please? I mean, we're probably going to be like going into like the end of the round anyway, so probably not. It depends on what happens on Friday night. I don't know if we're going to want to do 2 nights in a row, but we'll have plenty of post-pick thoughts out there. No need to worry about that.
Yeah, we'll be out there.
Fiore Lucas, are you emotionally ready to see prospects we crave going much earlier than we're on the clock? No, I'm not. I never am, and it always pisses me off.
Especially when it's like 3 picks out That's what.
Oh yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about with this get up into that like low 20s range. Just fucking do it. Like don't dick around anymore. Figure this thing out.
Give us a little trade up. We want a little trade up.
Like just a little, please, sir. Can I have some more? Let's do this thing. Let's not mess around here. We got 2 first-round picks. Come on, Eric.
Just give us a little taste. Give us a little taste of that trade up life.
Just give me a little taste there.
I'm gonna go get the papers. Get the papers.
Joe Bokenings.
I never see that one coming.
It might be my favorite, like sneaky favorite of the many that of the ever-growing list. That's a good one. Joe Bokenings JC. What other teams have we traded picks with the most historically? I feel like it's the Eagles.
Oh yeah, Howie and Eric are boys.
They're buds. So the Lamar trade, they've traded other times, obviously.
Jernigan was floating around with them.
Yep.
And yeah, I would go. I'd go there. I would be very interested to see the answer though.
Yeah, actually, there's obviously the data's out there
because it's been so like when we were young, it was probably some weird teams. Who knows?
When you
like Ozzy and some guy who went to Bama that it was a GM that we don't remember or know about.
Yeah, Falcons. I feel like might be on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I do think.
Who do they trade with for Bowler? Patriots.
I think maybe. I don't know if it's the Broncos or if I'm just confusing that with the fact that they traded with the Broncos so the Broncos could get Tebow. But I feel like overall, I think the answer is going to be the Eagles.
I'm just trying to look up Kyle Bowler.
We got to get Kyle on the pod.
That would be incredible. Ridiculous. They did want Byron Leftwich. I remember that. Of course. Guess who? Jameson Hensley writing and not saying who the trade was for. God damn it, Jameson. I don't know.
Speaking of great radio.
I can't find it.
Okay.
Can't find it.
Yeah, it feels like Philly is the answer.
Oh. God, can people just say the team?
They certainly can't. They need you to click.
Go to the next one. I'm going to try and find this.
Well, the next one is the last one, and it is a question. The question coming to us from Block 1134. He says, y'all covering the draft live, right?
Live. We're doing it live.
Do it live. So that is going onto the Instagram story and onto the podcast. So how about that?
I seriously can't find this. It should be noted the Patriots traded their second-round pick to the Texans. That's going to bug me.
Let me just Google Kyle Bowler here.
It was New England Patriots. Boom, called it, baby. Let's go.
Look at you.
Got it.
Look at you. Yeah, okay. So that is all the questions we got. Anything else you got here?
Do you feel the same? Rashad Bateman and a trade back. That's still your feeling?
Yes.
It's final predickies. Final predickies.
Rashad Bateman at the let me put a number to this too. Put a number to this. I'm gonna go Rashad Bateman at the 21st pick, and a trade up with Indianapolis from 27, and then they're gonna trade back from 31.
Okay. I'll leave it as is as well. Rashad Bateman and Trady Backey.
Interesting. So we're in lockstep there. I like that. All right, bud. Draft season is it's reached its zenith. It's crescendo. We are here. Hour and 30 long preview there for you guys. Anything else before we wrap it up? You sound a little tired. I'll say that.
I'm not tired. I'm just like I feel stupid.
There's some trepidation in your voice.
I feel stupid. I just feel stupid. Like I think everything that I think is wrong. That's why. That's my trepidation.
Well, it probably is.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Everything that I think is wrong. I truly think everything that I think is wrong.
So you should start doing the opposite of everything that you've ever done up until this point in your life, right?
So they're drafting Terrace Marshall, and Pat Freiermuth.
That's what's going to happen?
No, I'm sticking with Bateman and a trade down.
Okay.
Bateman and a trade down. Last one, not changing it. Predicky. Boom.
I hope it happens. Listen, Shafua and a trade down.
And a trade down, they get low 40s pick. And everyone's like, why did they trade Orlando Brown? But because they then trade up a bunch and have a bunch of top 125 picks. And that's where we stand, folks. I'm excited for the draft. I just feel stupid because I always feel stupid right around this time. Because I write all these things and I say all these things, and then I'm like, none of that's probably going to happen. And there we are. So
you know, it's not about the actual draft itself. It's about all the friends that we made along the way.
That is what it is all about, ladies and germs.
Well, there you have it. All right, bud. Anything else?
Nothing else.
Well, guys, thank you all for participating in this hashtag draft SCN with us. It was a ton of fun. All your participation in the Beatdown Big Boards, which is actually still ongoing. I got the final four posted right now. That is to the Twitter account at Podcast Beatdown. If you want to go vote on it and vote on that perfect prospect for the Ravens, I believe we got Trevon Moehrig, Creed Humphrey, Tevin Jenkins, and Rashad Bateman.
Where are we at in the Twitter one?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Yeah, so we got...
What was it? I haven't checked the Twitter one in a little while.
I think it's Trevon Moehrig versus Creed Humphrey, and then on the other side, you got Tevin Jenkins versus Rashad Bateman.
So...
I think that's what it is.
And then on the Instagram one, it's Creed Humphrey and Trevon Moehrig, so same matchup.
Yep.
And then Rashad Bateman and Jalen Phillips.
Okay.
So 3 out of 4.
Okay, interesting. So we're reaching some consensus here, and I do think Rashad Bateman's going to sweep it in both.
Any of those, and so that makes 5, including Jalen Phillips. And then it was Jenkins. So that was like almost what we had as well, too.
Pretty much.
Okay, so kind of similar. But yeah, so the fans seem to like Creed Humphrey, Trevon Moehrig, and Rashad Bateman the most. And then
very, like, we definitely got a little more in the weeds. This is a much more chalky one, which makes sense.
Yeah, it is chalky. I feel like the polls among a bunch of people usually end up being like kind of right, too. So any of those would be fantastic. I just don't think Phillips is there. And other than that, I think all those guys are in play to a degree. So there you have it, folks. Go close those out. Those will be coming to a crescendo as the draft is starting.
I guess we'll just announce the winners on the live stream because the poll is set to kind of end there, and then I'll just open another poll for the final matchup and just run it for like 30 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, so go vote on that final one. If you haven't voted on any of them, go vote on it. We had fun with that process, and it's been nice to kind of watch the results trickle in from it. And we had fun doing it. So here we are. The Baltimore Beatdown Big Board is coming to a conclusion. Draft season is coming to a conclusion because it is now the draft when you are listening to this. We appreciate you guys. And we will see you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Today.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, tonight it would be the... Tonight we are drunk. So set your pants on fire. We can go brighter than the sun. Yeah, so you can follow at Podcast Beatdown for that bracket on Twitter. You can follow me at Jake Luke. You can follow Spencer at Ravens4Dummies. And don't forget the draft live stream tomorrow. Probably going to be getting going sometime around 8 p.m., same time as the broadcast. We're going to have it on here. Having a couple cold ones, having some fun. Nothing too crazy, hard-hitting, just a fun discussion between some pals, maybe get some guests in the mix, and it's going to be a good time. So, like I said, that's going to be around 8 p.m., so tune in for that at the YouTube page, Baltimore Beatdown. That's where that's going to be.
Baltimore Beatdown on YouTube.
So, we will talk to you guys then.
See ya.
Arrivederci.
Gorlami. Gorlami.
Arrivederci. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.